right, now straight from the weekend, and we are back at it like we never left. Now, we do hope that you did have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and also once again, happy belated International Women's Day to all the women farmers and also our viewers from whichever part of the country that you are watching us from. Now, it being a new brand week, I'm very sure by now you know the vibes. Now, it means that we're going to have agricultural lessons spread out across the 5 days of this week. So be sure not to miss out on any class. We do have a fantastic week lined up for you. Once again, a very good evening, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us from wherever you are watching us from. A great show awaits you. My name is Violetta Ngina. My fellow host and farmer Emmanuel Terrer is not in with us today. He had traveled to Narok, but he will be back in studio as from tomorrow. So please do look forward to that. Now, moving on to the agenda of the day. Mondays for the last couple of weeks, we have been focusing on mango farming in Kenya, given that it is the fruit in season. However, today we are going to take a pause on mango farming and address key issues that are happening in the avocado sector. Now, remember, the main season of avocado right here in Kenya starts from the month of March all the way to September. Now, what we are going to be focusing on today is what is really happening in this very crucial agri-sector. And when I talk about crucial agri-sector, here is some data to give some proof on that. Now, when we are talking about how important avocado sector is in Kenya, it does contribute to 17% of the total horticulture exports that we export to the international market. What do I mean by that? So when you're talking about horticulture, we do have our fruits, we have our vegetables, we have our flowers, we also have our medicinal and aromatic plants. Now, out of all these different commodities out of horticulture, 17% of what is exported is avocados. That's how important this sector is. Now, when we're looking at different places where avocado is grown here in Kenya and also where we export our avocados, we export our avocados mainly to the European countries with a lot of emphasis on Netherlands, France, and Germany. Remember, we said 17% of the total horticultural exports are avocado, and they go to the European countries and these other countries that we are talking about. You might also wonder, what capacity do we export annually right here in Kenya? We export from 70,000 to 100,000 tons of avocado annually. And of course, this production has been made possible by a lot of our small-scale farmers who contribute largely to this sector. You might also want to know, which varieties do we popularly grow in Kenya? Here we grow mainly the Hass and the Fuerte varieties, as these are also the varieties which are highly on demand in the international market. And some of the different regions in Kenya where we do grow a lot of avocados include central Kenya, Rift Valley parts of Kenya, and also eastern parts of Kenya. Now, we do want to give you an overview on what is happening in the global market and how this could affect our farmers back at home. Now, if you're looking at Mexico, Mexico is the leading producers of avocados in the world. So when it comes to that country that is leading in production of avocados, it has to be Mexico, and its production annually is about 1.3 million tons. Now, what is happening in the global trade? Recently, in the Donald Trump administration, they have imposed a tariff of 25% in Mexico. This means that it's going to cost Mexico a lot more money to export their produce. And because of that, to cushion themselves, they are redirecting their exports of avocado to the European nations. And remember, Kenya does rely heavily in the European market. So now with the production of Mexico being about 1.3 million tons and them redirecting all that export to the European market, it does pose a lot of competition for farmers in Kenya who export about 70,000 to 100 tons of avocado annually still to the same market. And today we do want to talk in depth with different farmers and experts on what we can do to make sure that we cushion ourselves with the competitiveness in the market. So like I mentioned earlier, the varieties that we grow in Kenya are particularly Hass and Fuerte. Mostly we do export the Hass variety to the international market. Also, something great that we need to be very proud of in Kenya and also proud of our small-scale farmers is Kenya is the leading producer of avocado in the continent of Africa. Remember, we mentioned that when it comes to the global production, Mexico takes the lead with about 1.3 million tons of avocado produced annually, but Kenya takes the lead in the continent as the leading producer of avocados. And of course, here we do have some of the regions where avocado in Kenya is commonly grown. We have central parts of Kenya, Rift Valley as well, and eastern Kenya. So of course the conversation is going to focus majorly on how we can protect these farmers in these regions that you can see here against the competition that is happening in the market. So here again we do have a proper illustration of Kenya being the leading producer of avocado in the continent of Africa. And this of course has been made possible by the very many small-scale farmers that we do have in the country. You will be meeting some of them who I have with me in studio very shortly. All right, so that's what the conversation is going to be on the program today. All right, and I do have my farmers here with me. Karibuni sana Kenya's Gold. Thank you so much for making time to be with us. We do have Mr. John Mwaniki. Karibu sana Kenya's Gold. Wewe ni mkulima na pia wewe ni mkubwa wa Cooperative Society huko kwenyu, si ndio?
Yes.
Murang'a County.
Murang'a County.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
Thank
In
you.
your Cooperative Society, mko kama wakulima wangapi?
Tuko 355.
355.
Yeah.
Great. And we also have someone very interesting, Mr. Peter Karaoke, who is an avocado farmer, but something else that is even more interesting, he's not only an avocado farmer in Kenya, he's also an avocado farmer in Nigeria. So you woke up one morning, uka scout different places you can grow avocado, ukaamua Nigeria.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
They call you Oga or what?
Yeah.
Oga at the top.
Yes.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us today. I'm really looking forward to know what inspired you to go all the way to Nigeria. We also do have with us Mr. Justus Rukungu. Thank you so much for making time to be with us today. Also a farmer and a leader of a cooperative society in Murang'a County as well. How many members do you have now?
300.
300.
Yeah.
In here we had 355. Good. And finally, we do have Mr. Philip Mutoni. Thank you so much for making time to be with us today. Now we are going to be focusing majorly on the state of avocado farming in Kenya. As you have seen from our presentation, we do have a lot that is happening in the global market that could potentially affect these farmers in this society, this farmer here in Kenya, Nigeria, the farmers in that cooperative society, and we do want to get into the details of that. Now I'll just start generally with the varieties that you grow and also why that particular variety. I'll start with you, Mr. John Mwaniki. Kwa cooperative society, which variety is commonly grown?
Okay, thank you very much. We mostly grow hash avocado because it's durable, and also the export is good in market.
All right.
Yeah,
so
that is why we have the hash variety. Also, we do a bit. We have a bit of fuerte.
All right.
Yes.
So you grow both Hass and Fuerte variety.
Yeah.
All right.
And we do export.
You do export as well.
Yeah.
I'll come to you again, Mr. Peter Karaoke.
Yes.
You grow avocados here in Kenya and you also grow avocados in Nigeria as well.
Yes.
What inspired that move?
Okay. One thing is once you are passionate with what you want to do, as a farmer, you want to go and explore other avenues. So there was a challenge of land here in Kenya. We don't have land. In Nigeria, they have a lot of land. Also, accessing water. You see, like doing a borehole here in Kenya will cost you like 1 million shillings. But when you go to Nigeria, it will cost you like 100,000. So there are so many things that, one, a farmer in Nigeria has an advantage than us here in Kenya. Right. So that's why I was like, no, I need to move and do has avocado there. Also, there were no farmers there. So I'm actually even educating farmers there and helping them also to do has avocado growing in Nigeria.
Right. Yes. Is it that in Kenya we do not have land, or we have not managed to properly utilize a lot of bare land that is lying in our country? Okay,
I think one thing, where we were born, we are very much squeezed. Actually, where we farm avocado is in the central province mostly. And you find that a family will have 1 acre, they will share 4 of them. So you are like, will I build a house here or will I plant avocados? So that one is a challenge. So we have land, yes, but it's not enough. So go to Nigeria, you find people have very big lands, 500 acres, all that. And they want, and the population is big also, by the way, and they need to feed. So I was like, I need to grow avocados in Nigeria. I will not even export my avocados when I grow them in Nigeria. I will sell them locally there.
Right.
And get money, that enough money, instead of exporting them to Europe. You see?
Right.
Yeah.
So you'll later get to talk to us about some of the policies that you feel are supporting agriculture there, that is making agriculture quite difficult for us here in Kenya. I'll be very curious to hear about that and more later on in the program. But coming to you, Mr. Justus Rukungu, a farmer and also a leader of a cooperative society in Murang'a County. Also talk to us about the variety that is grown in your region, and also which markets are you satisfying?
Thank you. In Murang'a, we grow has variety. We also have fuete. We also have several other varieties of African avocados, though we do not have a big market for them because they are locally consumed. In our farming, the Hass avocado has a very long shelf life, and the fuete avocado a short shelf life. So most people prefer to grow and export Hass avocado. Also, the oil quantity of Hass avocado is higher than that of fuete.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the reason as to why most of your farmers are growing the Hass avocado.
That's
Please
true.
name for us these local varieties, and is it necessary for a farmer to get into them? Wale wakulima ambao wanapanda hiyo local variety, are they getting market for it as well?
They get local markets, but we do not have export market except for the Middle East. But the Middle East market is not very stable. You might sell your fruits there and you don't get paid. So we don't prefer selling to Middle East because of being scammed. Yes.
So this has happened to farmers before?
Yes.
Wakipeleka mazao yako pale Middle East, pesa inaweza kuja ama ikose kukuja?
Inaweza kosa.
But when you're taking the products there, you can also take the indigenous ones as well?
Yes, they buy.
Or they buy the indigenous ones as well?
They do.
All right.
Yes.
So coming to you, Mr. Joseph Wagura, thank you so much for making time to be with us today, CEO, Avocado Exporters Association of Kenya. Karibu sana Kenya's Gold.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right. So I'd want for you to create for us a picture of where we are as a country when it comes to avocado farming. And since you are predominantly in that exporting space, please give us in depth more details on what makes this Hass avocado the king of avocados for the export market.
Yeah, the Hass avocado is very important because of its oil content as well as its shelf life. But in Kenya, we are 6th in the world and 1st in Africa in production of avocados. The bulk of our avocados, 70%, comes from smallholder farmers, while we do export, and in that production, 70%, there is a huge loss in post-election, post-harvest losses. And when it happens, you find that we lose about 30% in our production in the year 2023, we were able to produce about 530 metric tons of avocados, and we are able to export about only 20% of that production. 80% of our production is consumed in the country.
Right. So our local market is also good.
Our local market, it doesn't give the same price as exported avocados, but it is what is available. We have a number of challenges that I will be able to discuss later that make our export of avocados a little bit difficult from Kenya.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll come straight to you, Mr. John Mwaniki, who's a farmer and also you lead a cooperative society. Umesikia kutoka kwa expert wetu, Mr. Joseph, that small-scale farmers play a very crucial role in the avocado sector in Kenya. But I'd want to know, are you empowered enough? Are the challenges that small-scale farmers go through given solutions in good time? Because you are the backbone of avocado in Kenya. How is the management? What are the challenges that you're facing, and what are some of the solutions that you've been given to those challenges?
First of all, I will say we are not well empowered, because I don't know whether it's our government or it's county government, because our farmers, they do work, but no returns. Especially when we are in our farms, you know avocado needs a lot of work so that you get the right quality. And where we sell our avocado, they need quality and also quality. But we have a lot of challenges because our government is not empowering us. One, we don't have irrigation water. So we don't have water for irrigating. Also, we have a lot of pests and diseases, which are not controlled by the government. Also, our farmers they are the ones who are taking that advantage of going and looking for how they will control the pests. Also, we have also challenges in the market. When exporters come to our farmers, they are the ones who say the price of the avocado. So they are the ones who are saying the price, but not the farmers. So the farmers are takers only. So when we do this, our farmers get discouraged. Because when the exporters comes to our areas, they do what we call divide and rule, because they go to farmers. And that is why we decided to come together and have the organization, the cooperatives, so that we can have the power. That is the bargaining power.
Right.
And I think since we started having cooperatives, it is when we started seeing further. And that is when the exporters, so that we are getting knowledge, and then they disheartened. They started setting other people they call brokers. And that is why in Kenya, stealing of avocado is in a very high speed. Stealing of avocado. Because we have many roadside kiosks where when fruits are stolen, the boys are easier to take them there.
Right.
So we have those challenges. Also, we don't have control. Especially, the HCD says the avocado is closed, no exporting. Since, I think, since November.
Right.
But in here between, up to date, we can see vehicles taking avocados. And when we are in the cooperatives, we are not supposed to sell before the HCD opens the exporting. But we have other exporters who are taking our avocados.
Right. We have an exporter here. I'd like to hear his remarks, because I understand they close the harvesting and the exporting season so that we avoid wakulima who harvest premature fruits.
That is where I was coming to tell you. Also, that is a big challenge of harvesting immature fruits.
Right. So we'll hold it there for now. We'll come back to Mr. Joseph, who'll talk to us about exporters. Pengine wananyanyasa wakulima kama John anavyosema. Maybe he'll help us understand that. But that more will be answered when we come back from this short commercial break. And we are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. And in case you're just joining us, welcome to Kenya's Gold, where the focus today is to understand what is really happening in the avocado market and the future of this agri sector. And to shed more light on that, we have Mr. Justus Rukungu, who is a farmer and also a head of a cooperative society. We also have Mr. Peter Kariuki, who is not only a Kenyan farmer, but also a farmer of avocados in Nigeria. We also have Mr. John Mwaniki, a farmer and also chairman of a cooperative society. And finally, our expert being Mr. Joseph Wagura, who is the CEO Avocado Exporters Association of Kenya. Now, we will be continuing with the conversation, but before that, allow me to tease. What tunafanya kitu hapa inaitwa farm jokes, ndio? It's a joke that you'll have to give me an answer at the end of the show. And the question that we are asking you today is actually very simple. What do bees call their backup plans? Okay? What do bees call the backup plan? Ile plan yao ya pili after ya kwanza imekataa kukuwa successful. What do bees, nyuki, what do they call it? So you'll give me answers at the end of the program. Sir, Mr. John. All right. Now continuing with our conversation, I believe this is the best time for Mr. Joseph Wagura, being in the exporting business, to talk to us about some of the concerns that have been raised by Mr. John Mwaniki, a farmer, who is saying, saa zingine exporters wakikuja kwa shamba, they dictate the prices. Hata kama mkulima amefanya kazi nyingi sana, when they give you their prices, you end up stating yours. And because sometimes yenyewe wakikaa hapo nayo itaharibika tu, inabidi tu wakubali your price yenye umewapatia. And then also something very important is help us understand when the HCD closes the harvesting season of avocado, alafu mkulima aone watu wamekujia avocado, where does that avocado go? Is it closed but open for certain people? Please shed more light on that.
Okay, I'll start with the second question about closing and opening of the season. The HCD through AFA is the organization in this country that has the responsibility of maintaining the good quality of our avocados, both for local consumption and export. And for that reason, they do close the season, like for example last year on October 17th to February 14th for Fuete, and up to March 17th for Hass. So the Hass season is not open yet.
Right, up until now.
Up until now, it's not open yet. The reason is because sometimes as the farmers and the exporters and people who deal with avocado, sometimes we send immature avocados, and that damages the reputation of our country. To protect that reputation, that is that time that we close to allow the fruits to mature.
Right.
Now, the directive always issued by AFA through HCD is closing export by sea. Avocados are exported by sea, 95%, because the fact that they are a bulk commodity. It is very expensive to export by air. If you export by air, you make the avocado, because of that cost, you make our Kenyan avocados uncompetitive in the market because they will be expensive. So that is why you prefer to use sea. It is not only cheaper, but also can carry that bulk. So when the season is closed, it is closed for sea. But by air is always open.
So when you say by air is always open, there's no risk for those who are exporting by air to export immature fruits?
I'll explain that. Every time, if today exporter A wants to export avocados during the closed season, the first thing that you do is to go to HCD and make an application. HCD staff will visit your farm, they will inspect, they will confirm, they will estimate the tonnage that you have and look at the maturity level of the crop. Then they will give you a go-ahead to harvest, transport, and pack in your pack house. Then they will follow up that paper trail to ensure that their estimated production from that area is what you're doing. So at the pack house, before KEFIS, which issues the phytosanitary certificate, does that, it has to see the inspection report of HCD. And therefore, they authorize you to export by air.
Right.
So that is why you'll find still avocados being exported, but this time they are being exported by air because they have been given that authority, because the maturity has been checked and the quality has been checked.
Right.
That is why, and that's why it is kept open for air. Because you also want to maintain our fruits in the market, you don't just shut your shop, right? And then you open it up 3 months down the line.
Right.
People might have forgotten your fruit. Right. So that is why those who are interested, and that is the procedure: inspect, confirm, export by air. So
pack house inspections are compulsory
at that time of the closure of season.
Right, and that is only for those who are exporting by air.
Yeah. Yes.
But now, as we speak, the only people who are exporting by sea are those in Fuete.
Fuete, yes.
Because the market, this harvesting season has been opened.
Yes, I would like to add a rider there as well. Because in Eldoret, the maturity of the avocados is delayed. So you'll find that people on that side of the country, they have, if they have the volumes that can be exported by sea, they still make an application, the volumes are inspected, they are confirmed to be mature, and then they are given a special clearance to export by sea. Right. So whether it is closed or not, especially for those sides of the country where maturity is delayed, then they still do export by sea, even when the season is closed.
Great.
But there is that approval long before you start.
Right. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I want us to get into the aspect of a harmonious relationship between the mkulima and the exporter. But before you address that, I want Mr. Justus Rukungu, who's also a farmer and a chairman of a cooperative society, at least to tell us if they've also faced similar challenges as with Mr. John when it comes to dealing with exporters when they come to the farm. Wakikujia mazao yenyu. Have you faced the same price issue with exporters before Mr. Joseph gives us a solution?
Yes, we do face challenges. Let me explain that in Murang'a County, we have been working with the county government, and we have a union, of which I'm currently the vice chairman. In the union, we have 13 cooperatives, and we market our avocados together. But when we go to the exporters, you find they prefer working with these people we call brokers. But majority of brokers are employees of exporters. And what they do is that they have ready money. And when they go to the farm, as Mr. Mwaniki said, they dictate the prices. They tell the farmer we are buying a kilo at 40 shillings, 50 shillings. And because maybe the farmer has a challenge with money, he or she will agree. But we as the union, we have a marketing team. And we said the team to the exporters to bargain for prices. But what we bargain for mostly is grading. Grading is when you harvest the fruits, we request the exporter to send a grader, an expert, who will now take the good fruits and leave the rest with the farmer. But now most of the exporters, they do a second grading. And when they do the second grading, you find that as much as that 5% of the fruits are rejected. And yet they had already, their person had already done the first grading.
That first grading is done in the farm?
The farm gate.
With someone from the exporter's side. All right.
So we are now insisting as the union that we are not going to agree on second grading.
Right.
We want them, when they come to the farm, they buy 100 kilograms from a farmer. The farmer will know that he sold 100 kilograms and he will be paid for 100 kilograms. Yes.
All right. I'll come to you, Mr. Peter Kariuki. Umesikia shida ambazo wakulima wetu hapo wanapitia. You're also a farmer here as much as you are a farmer of avocados in Nigeria. And I'd like for you to talk to us about the structures that you've put in place to protect yourself as a farmer there. Do you have cooperative societies? And also, how do you work with the exporters?
Okay. Now, let me first talk about Kenya, because I'm also a Kenyan farmer.
Where's your farm in Kenya, by the way?
Is in Murang'a. I think everybody here comes from Murang'a, you know?
Murang'a is very heavy with avocados.
Yeah, it's heavy. Okay. So now, one thing, what I have noticed is since Ava closed the avocados, and now they are opening, like Quetta they opened, these brokers, they are going to the farms and telling farmers that the avocados are not being bought this season. You see? So there's a very big challenge the farmers are going through because they are being forced to sell their fruits at around 10 shillings per kg. Because now, after closed, but they did not do an awareness. Okay? So actually what I have noted, when you go that way from Murang'a, that we're going to Keno, there are so many pickups carrying avocados. And they are taking them for oil extraction. You see? So now there is a challenge. Very soon, Kenya, the volumes of avocados, if we continue that way, most of the avocados will be crushed for oil production. So I think HCDA, AVA, should enlighten farmers. They should bring programs to tell farmers we are closing at this date, we will open. So it's not that Kenya does not have market for avocado. No, but the farmer down there, our shows, grandmother, grandfathers, they don't have the network of digital whatever to know that. So now there's a problem with that. So now we go by going back to Nigeria. There, you see, we just started around 4 years ago. So we are still making the structures.
Right.
So I'm getting the ideas from here, taking them there. We are all that. So we have not really started that because what we have there is a jumbo. The native avocado. So we just introduced us avocado.
Avocado.
Yes.
What's the consumption like? Unajua hapa Kenya mtu akikuwa na kagitheri mahali anatafuta avocado, kamchele mahali anataka avocado. We almost eat avocados with anything. Is that the same case there?
No, avocado is for the rich.
Really?
In Nigeria, it's a superfood. So you don't get it. You cannot get it. Has avocado, actually, you cannot get it there.
Right. So
we have just started producing fewer volumes. And you see the population is big compared to Kenya. So we are expecting that in around 2-3 years, we'll be able to sell the fruits around Nigeria before we even market them outside the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Maybe in a minute, I'd want for you, Mr. Joseph, to talk to us about that second grading. When he says, kwanzia sasa hatutaka second grading, exporters wasifanye second grading, what is the solution for that? Please help me understand that in 30 seconds.
The issue is not about second grading. The issue is that I would like all the farmers, as they have done today, to be in those unions, and in those unions, they will be able to sell their fruits directly to the exporters. I don't want to call them brokers. Let's call them aggregators, because the role that they play is bringing together those the few fruits from different farmers. They aggregate them and then they put them together, and then they are able to bring to the exporter. The second grading will always happen, but I would like the farmers to be sure that every time any fruit harvested on the tree should be carried by the person who has done the harvesting.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. John? But we'll get to, I know you have so much to say about that. We'll get to that after this conversation. For now, let us talk to our farmers, because right here at Kenya's Gold, we're very keen on making sure that our farmers are growing in whichever agri-sector that you are in. You possibly are an avocado farmer. We are speaking about your agri-sector today, and you do want to grow. One of the solutions that we are giving you is make sure that you are part of a cooperative society. Here in our panel, we do have two chairmen of cooperative society. Therefore, that goes ahead to show you how important it is for a farmer to be in a cooperative society, because that does serve as the voice of a farmer. When you are in a cooperative society, you do stand a higher chance of getting financial support from various financial institutions like the cooperative bank. You also do get quality farm inputs. Here we're talking about your seed, your seedlings, and your fertilizer. You also get professional advice from agronomists, and there's also market for your produce at the end of the season. Another solution that we're giving you here is cooperative bank is very keen when it comes to supporting small-scale farmers, large-scale farmers, as well as farmers in cooperative society through various credit solutions. Now, as of now, mvua imeanza kunyesha, wakulima tumeanza kupanda, na pengine bado hujamaliza kununua mbegu ama ni fertilizer, and you're running low on cash. You do not have to worry, because in this planting season, you can partner with cooperative Cooperative Bank, who have various credit solutions like a working capital loan. This loan is given to you as a farmer for the purpose of buying quality farm inputs during this planting season. So dear farmer, usiteseke ukiwa peke yako during this season. First of all, make sure that you are in a cooperative society. And point number 2, kimbia pale Cooperative Bank, angalia the various credit solutions that they do have for farmers like you and take advantage of them. That way you will be able to grow from not just doing agriculture, but also in agribusiness. Now we are taking another break right now. When we come back, we will be talking about now that Mexico is redirecting their exports to Europe, and that is the market that we depend on. How will that affect our smallholder farmers right here in Kenya? That and more when we come back from this break. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tumeongezeka. Mr. Ernest Mudhomi is here with us. He is the CEO of Avocado Society of Kenya. Umechelewa wapi?
Thank you so much, and I'm glad to be here and to meet stakeholders here.
All right.
I'm happy to be here back in the studio.
Karibu sana. We also do have Mr. Philip Mutoni, an expert today. Karibu sana, Kenya's Gold.
Thank you for the chance. Pole tumechelewa. Ni mvua kidogo.
All right, karibuni.
But we are happy.
All right, so we'll be talking to them a lot more shortly, but for now, we want to talk to the young people in agriculture. We do have very good news for you young people in the space of agriculture. And the good news is Young People in Agriculture Awards by Tupande, in partnership with MasterCard, is looking to support the young people in agriculture by giving you improved farm inputs and also creating for you cost-effective solutions that can boost your harvest greatly. Remember, at the end of the day, ukiingia katika masuala ya ukulima, you want to make sure that you're making revenues, you're also getting good returns and also good harvest. And that is where Young People in Agriculture Awards by Tupande is coming in. They're here to take care of those two problems that I've just mentioned. Now, in case you're wondering, how can I be part of the Young People in Agriculture Awards? All you have to do is register by dialing *896*9#. I'll repeat that one more time. You have to register by dialing *896*9#, and that way you become part of Young People in Agriculture Awards by Tupande. The registration is that simple. Remember, at the end of the day, they're here to make sure that you, as a young person in agriculture, you're getting good returns from your farm and also good profit. So please do remember to register and be part of Young People in Agriculture Awards by Tupande in partnership with MasterCard. Now, moving on to our conversation, I'll just go straight to you, Mr. Ernest. Karibu sana for making time to be with us today. Earlier on, with the help of our expert here, Mr. Joseph, tulielewa so much about the exportation by sea. But right now, I want you to talk to us about how the wars, the conflicts that we are seeing in international markets is affecting our exports as of now.
Yeah, thank you very much. I must admit that avocado is a global commodity with various players. And of course, we all understand that the Red Sea crisis has presented to us a big challenge because our voyages are taking longer. Initially, we used to go through the Red Sea, but now we have to go down to South Africa. So it's really a challenge. I can't say we can't blame anybody, but we just hope and pray that this war is going to end. We're seeing positive changes, I mean, positive political decisions being made by US and by Middle East. So we are hopeful that is going to change.
Right.
What we are actually appealing is a government intervention, sometimes to allow, to open up space so that when we have an opportunity to export our avocados by air, then we have that.
Right.
At the same time, we are also requesting government to probably give an intervention so that we pay less duties on air freights. At the same time, government can also give us waivers on some of the charges and levies because really we are in a crisis as an industry. So our appeal is to the president. He's an avocado farmer and a member of the Avocado Society of Kenya, that he can do an intervention because this value chain really depends on, very many people depend on this value chain.
Right.
And it's just the season. The season has just begun. We want to make some money so that we can pay school fees for our kids, so that some of our businesses have been closed for more than 6 months, because you know avocado is really a seasonal crop. So we've been paying our exporters have been paying staff without work. So any intervention that comes along to really tell them pole or to give them really a motivation to export is really welcome.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Philip, I'll come to you. We are learning now that countries like Mexico, who is a global leader in the production of avocados, is now going to be redirecting their exports to Europe, which is also the region where all these farmers are heavily depending on. What are the potential problems that could arise for us locally with that competition, with this influx that is about to happen in the market?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. When it comes to the issue you have already raised, I don't think from a professional point of view, it's not a big issue, because currently we have a very big market that is US. When it comes to Europe market, currently Kenya, we are supplying only less than 5% of the market demand. Mexico cannot move to Europe and do 100% of the demand that we are doing, because they will still come back, go back to US. Trust you me, the truth is US demand is too high, and we cannot reach it. So even if the prices are upped, they will still make it. Buyers would still buy. But not just to move from your point of view, but just to raise a small issue that you have been working on. Since I was part of the National Horticulture Task Force and the Good Practice Guide program that we did with the co-lead, I'm working on a way we can do implementation of the Good Practice Guide. We need to implement whatever we are talking about in terms of Good Practice Guide and bring the correct measures to the farmers. Because people are making out of noise about avocado, but farmers are not reaping the money that we expect them to reap. So that's what I'm working on. Currently, I'm the founder and the CEO for Avocado Golf Series. And Avocado Golf Series is not just a golf game. It's a way of educating people on avocado farming locally. My focus currently is local development of the farmers, because exporters have their own challenges. I've been there. I've worked as a CEO for Avocado Exporters Association of Kenya. I'm no longer there. But where I am, as a director for Avocado Golf Series, we are working on implementing what farmers can reap, because the only challenge is farmers, most of them don't know even the correct quality when it comes to harvesting. And it gives them a challenge, because the people will buy from them and they don't know the correct people to buy, to sell their fruits to. They get a challenge.
Right.
So we are working on a way that we can have contracts with exporters, so that exporters get their money and farmers get their money also, because this industry is big.
Right.
We have to grow it. Thank you.
All right. He has a quick one, maybe 20 seconds as we wind up this conversation.
Yeah, very quickly. When Mexico gets the 25% tariff to enter the United States, it's a tariff barrier, but it's only 25%. So much of the fruits may still go to the US, but even if they came in to Europe, where we are selling our avocados, that impact may not be so big. So we still have a chance to sell our avocados in Europe and as well as Middle East, and open up China and Malaysia.
So we can open up new markets?
Yes, we already have new markets in China. We only need to meet the conditions that have been set.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so very much for that. With that, we have come to the end of the show. I wish we had some more time to keep this conversation going, but we will keep having this conversation on avocado and keep having you here in studio. Thank you so much for making time to be with us today. And of course, as we wind up, lazima munipatie answer ya farm joke, Mr. Ernest, mumeingia late lakini mutanipea answer. It was so simple. What do bees call their backup plans? Karaoke? Justus? Ernest? It's Philip?
Backup plan.
Backup plan ya bee ni gani? Plan what? Plan?
Plan B is to get more flowers.
To get more flowers. Hey, Muna. Well, the answer is so simple. It's a plan B. You get?
Okay, I wanted to recognize the fact that you don't give him the avocados and we got late. They are on the way.
Oh, mumetuletea avocados. Thank you. So
I want to bring the issue of I got
so we will bring those issues in the next show. Time imeisha. Sawa.
I got an opportunity.
All right. All right, thank you so much. Tuko na avocados. We'll go and enjoy them. But for now, we have to say goodbye to you. We'll see you again tomorrow. My name is Violetta Ngina. Goodbye.
Kenya's Gold, brought to you by Cooperative Bank of